So I was with our course superintendent, Gordon Moyer, and he knew Arnold Palmer's dentist because he was a member of the RNA, and he knew the mayor of Pine Valley. But you'd heard so much about Pine Valley and what it is. It certainly didn't disappoint. But that standing on that first tee was, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode of the Whole Story Podcast. Robby here. Jonathan wasn't able to make this one, but we had a great episode, a great interview with our friend Niall Flanagan, who is the head of golf and corporate at Wine and Earth, a company based in the UK, and they help people figure out wine, and he gets to go around to these different golf courses and talk to them and their food and beverage folks. A lot of the chefs help pair up wines with different meals. Just a really great company and interesting guy. So great chat with him. I think you guys are going to enjoy this episode. We want to thank Bedrati, Summit Golf Brands, all those guys there under the Summit Golf Brands family for working with us. If you use Best Ball 20 at any of the sites, Bedrati, zero restriction, fairway and green, you get 20% off your order. So many thanks to those guys. Also want to thank Western Birch, friends of the program. Check out westernbirch.com. And if you use Best Ball in the shipping cart, you can get a free gift with your order. Great custom tees, something that everybody needs to go get. So without any further ado, I hope you guys enjoy today's episode. Y'all have fun. All right, Niall Flanagan, thank you for joining us on the Whole Story Podcast. You and I were just chatting briefly before we hit record just about some of your background, but excited to hear more about it. But thanks for being with us.
Oh, my pleasure, Robby. Thanks very much for the invite. And yeah, looking forward to answering some questions and telling some stories, hopefully.
Yeah, well, you currently you are the head of golf and corporate for Wine and Earth, and we're going to get to that. But with all our guests who are just in the golf space, and we talked about this briefly, but how did you first get into golf? When did you first start playing, first get a club in your hand?
I was 10, and obviously with a name like Flanagan, my dad decided that he wanted to go and find his roots in Ireland. So we spent about 3 or 4 weeks in the summer of 1976 traveling around Ireland. It was a beautiful summer, and there were all these little pitch and putt courses, which are really cool. And so he said, "Come on, son, we'll have a go." And yeah, so we got some clubs, and I was left-handed. I didn't realise I was left-handed. Tried left-handed, and it just worked. And yeah, after that, the game, just fell in love with it. It was just something I wanted to do and take it up. So when we came back home, Dad was kind of a player, but he didn't really play that often. And then he said, "Oh well, if you're going to get into it, I'll get into it as well." So it was I guess at that time, being about 10, it was a great father and son combo that we could go out and learn golf together, which is cool.
Yeah, that's we always say the best part of golf is the people you get to be with. So
Absolutely.
really cool that you started doing it with your dad. I have a lot of memories of playing with my dad.
Yeah.
Neither of us were very good. I might need to try playing left-handed. Maybe that will fix a lot of my problems.
I wouldn't want to make it too easy for anybody else. That's it.
I know. Well, you took, I guess you took the love of golf and you turned it into a career. And, I started looking at your LinkedIn page, and it's kind of the who's who or the where you want to be of all the different things. So kind of walk us through, how did you start working in golf? Like, what was the first thing that got you interested in, well, let's take this game I love and make it a career?
Well, yeah, it's funny because actually when I grew up, I wanted to go in the wine business. When I was doing what we call our A levels, I didn't want to go to university or college. I basically wanted to go and be a wine buyer, and I just thought traveling around would be cool, and trying wine and drinking wine would be a dream job. And I did my exams at night school when I was doing my A levels as well, and then I went to work for a fine wine importer for French and German wine. but I was still playing golf, and I enjoyed golf. And I was a member of a club called Tyrrell's Wood. And anyway, I was kind of believing back in the early 80s that, I didn't have the right school tie to be sort of a wine merchant back in the day. You kind of had to have the right school tie, definitely, and just to open the doors. And secondly, I didn't think I had a good enough palate to go all the way to be a master of wine. And I think my liver would have probably packed up by now if I'd carried on. So I thought, maybe what else can I do? And the PGA South region had an office at my club, Tyrrell's Wood, and I literally popped up there one day and said, like, listen, have you got any jobs? It was like the beginning of summer, and back in the day, we're talking 80, 86, 87. The Pro-Am circuit was really, really busy. And so they said, like, yeah, trainee tournament controller. So I said, okay, great. What is it? And they said, like, basically you drive the kit, you put all the scoreboards up, and then you start everybody off from, sort of 7:30 in the morning till 2:30 in the afternoon. And then you have a bit of a rest, and then you go and do the recording. And then you take the scoreboards down and you drive to the next venue the next day, and you get £50 a day, and you get your expenses paid. So if you need to stay over, you come stay over with us. And I did that for the season. Absolutely loved it. Working with pros, working with clubs all over the southeast of the UK. You're like a sponge. Then you're just learning everything, and then was fortunate enough to get a full-time role kind of the next winter, became tournament controller. And kind of you were running mini businesses every day, because you had a sponsor to deal with, you had the club staff to deal with, like the club pro, and obviously the course manager to set the course up. And then you had maybe 40 pros that you had to look after. Then you had the sponsors. You had to do the prize giving, and it was a great learning curve to be able to, then sort of move into club management. Because it was that was kind of something that I had looked at for a while. But the grassroots were definitely with the PGA, and I was lucky enough that kind of went to tournament director as well after that, and that allowed me to do national events. And work on the European Tour as a referee as well. So my first European Tour event was Monte Carlo.
Wow.
And my job for the week was Monte Carlo's right on top of the mountain, and the 14th hole is a par 3, but it's kind of on the edge, looking down onto the marina, or and where all the hotels are, and the strip basically. And my job for the week was cloud covers control, because they used to get clouds come up and just cover the 14th, and you'd have to stop play. So I used to have it's coming, yeah, and it was like cotton wool, just below the tee box. But no, we're okay to play. Let's go. That was a great week. It was a great way to start European Tour life.
That's quite a story. You don't think that would be a role that you would have when you're working at an event as the cloud guy, right?
Yeah,
like, let us know when they're cloud. Yeah,
so that was cool. And then I actually was tournament director for the National Assistants Championship, which happened to be on the Edinburgh course at Wentworth. And then from there, that's how I got the introduction to get into club management, which is quite cool.
Yeah, so I guess one of your first ones, at least according to LinkedIn, was Wentworth, and
yeah,
you kind of have, like, again, the places that everybody hears about. Celtic Manor. You were over in Dubai, it looks like, for a little bit, and then St. Andrew's Links Trust. I mean, it's hard to beat some of those, right? Yeah,
that was pretty good. No, very lucky. Kind of right time, right place, but obviously worked pretty hard to try and impress people, but you need that bit of luck as well. And everything had gone well with the Peugeot National Assistants Championship, and then kind of went into. By this time, I was married and I had the first child on the way. So, kind of thought I was going to have. I couldn't travel as much as I thought, So Little did I know that the club manager's life is around about 16 hours, so you're still doing the hours, but at least you're going home to your own bed every night. So,
Right.
but yeah, that was a great learning curve. Wentworth is a great club, always has been, always will be, I think. Three great golf courses just outside of London, kind of the archetypal country club from a Great Britain point of view. Obviously had great championships, world match play for several years, and now has hosted well, now the BMW Championship, but
Hmm.
was the PGA Championship since like 1984, with some great winners. And I was lucky enough I think I did two or three. Bernard Langer certainly won one. Jose Maria Latabal won one. But great learning curve. And I was lucky enough to work with Bernard Gallagher, who at the time was the Ryder Cup captain, and a chap called Chris Kennedy, who was the course manager, estates manager, who taught me a lot about agronomy as well and how to get golf courses into incredible shape for the best golfers in the world. So, and also I had our chief executive, Willie Bauer, who was a legend in food and beverage and hotels. Was very much the old school. He used to beat you by the stick, literally sometimes, but it was a great learning curve, and his attention to detail was unbelievable. And that was my first introduction to food and beverage and hospitality, as well as bringing the golf side in as well. So very lucky to get that role.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, when someone shows up to play golf, they're not thinking about all the other things that are working behind the scenes to make the overall experience what it is. And sounds like you got to see a lot of the different things and maybe appreciate it a little more, as in the different roles that you served.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. I think when the CMAA, Club Managers Association of America, kind of highlighted how many industries go into country club life and how much money is generated for local communities. And it's astronomical, from the florist to laundry to food and beverage suppliers to golf club suppliers to people who, just the staffing areas, from greenkeepers to night porters, who never see each other basically, but are all part of the team. To get the country club to work is 24/7, and it's a fascinating life to be in. And as we both know, is like a country club or your club is your second home. So you get to know the members pretty well as well, and you're part of that almost family life, which is very different from a hotel perspective.
Yeah. A couple other things in your kind of resume that stood out. You were a top 100 panelist for the National Club Golfer.
I
So you're
was.
one of the guys that goes around and gets to play the best courses in the world and rates them. Correct?
Yeah, yeah. I very lucky. I mean, again, because I was at St Andrews, got to meet a lot of people, and again, having worked in Dubai, and just building a number of people and a number of golf courses, then being able to travel so much because you know those people as well. The National Club Golfer actually was during pandemic, and they said to me, "Would you become a panelist?" I said, "Yeah, fantastic." But this was like January 2021. We didn't know if the world was going to exist. I was like, "Yeah, whatever." Um, but I said, "Look, I've been lucky enough to play some of the top courses. I'd like to go back to the courses where I was a tournament controller kind of 30 years ago." And played some great golf courses around London. Like I don't know if you've heard of the three W's, like Warpleston, West Hill, Woking, Hindhead, all these Coombe Hill. There's those type of golf courses, Heathland, Parkland golf courses, um, that are really good golf courses that aren't necessarily um, on the radar for international golfers, but from a UK perspective and from an English perspective, they're really good golf courses. And what was really nice to see is that the money had been put back in from the money that had been generated through the pandemic by people wanting to play golf and that could play golf, and also joining, as members. So they had money to invest into the golf courses, and the quality of agronomy had grown so much in those 30 years that, it was a real treat to go and play golf courses that trees had gone, tree lines had gone. It was, definitely gone back to what it was originally, and in great condition. And to go and play them and write some nice things about golf courses and just go, yeah, they're all great. I loved it.
Yeah.
Fine.
They're all number one, just all of them.
They're
I
all
love
good.
it.
Hey,
Yeah,
there's no such thing as a bad day on the golf course, right?
I completely agree with that. One other thing that jumped out, you worked for the Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
I did. I worked for Tottenham Hotspur, who are my team. So I sold my company, clubbing, in 2000, at the end of 2017, and I got this amazing opportunity to work for my team, and it was the season that we were at Wembley while the £1 billion stadium was being built, and my job was to look after the premium memberships, and there was like 2,500 members, which equated to 8,000 seats, and you had different levels. And I kind of gravitated to the guys who were, in the Eights Club and the Tunnel Club, and the people who, needed to be looked after as such. And one of my roles, this is a tough gig, is the club had a private jet, so it was like, hey, we're not using the private jet, like let's get some of these guys on a jet and go and see some, Champions League games. I was like, yeah, I can do that. So I remember once we got 12 members, myself, and we flew to Barcelona in the private jet. We got off, we had lunch in the Players Hotel. We walked down to Barcelona's ground. We had cocktails and canapes in the boardroom before the game. We were in the boardroom seats. We drew 1-1, which made us go through to the knockout stage, where we actually got to the final of the Champions League that year. But the best bit was then go and celebrate in the hotel, and then just kind of go, what time do you want to leave tomorrow, guys? Whatever time. Well, we'll meet at 7 and we'll leave about 8. Perfect. Let's just fly then. And that was crazy. So there were some nice opportunities that came my way, but also to see the magnificent stadium that it is, and the money that's spent, but also from a business perspective to see how that works. And, Tottenham have started, 2 wins. So hopefully, the fruits will also be shown on the pitch now that we've won the Europa League as well. So things are looking good, hopefully, for Tottenham.
Yeah, that was it hard working for your team? I guess it might be tougher to work for not your team, because you might not, maybe you wouldn't put as much effort into it. But if it's your team, I guess you're all in, and you really want to see.
You're definitely all in, and let me tell you, if you lose, the fans tell you about it. They're not happy. You could have had the best wine, the best food, wherever, but you lose. This is rubbish now. This is rubbish now. Yeah, whatever. Everybody's happy. You win. You're the best guy in the room. Everything's great.
Yeah, it's almost like you were out there and you didn't do your job on the pitch.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, sorry.
Yeah, my fault.
That season we won a lot, so it was quite cool.
Very nice. All right. Well, now let's get to Wine and Earth, what you're doing now, and tell us the title. When you look at Wine and Earth, you're the head of golf and corporate. So I imagine you've taken a lot of the experiences that you've had at managing courses or people, or the thing like you did with Tottenham, and how you just cater to people and experiences and things like that. But now you get to go back to the wine business, correct? So tell us about this.
Yeah, I kind of retired and was bored, to be quite honest with you. I needed something, and my son has two bars, and I used to do the wine for him. And I was kind of a little bit annoyed with the supplier. I mean, the guys in the shop were great, but we never saw the rep and whatever. And I was just like looking around for a new supplier, and Wine and Earth, and I'd like never heard of them, and they were based in my town. So I was like, I'll go and see them. So, and I met with the chief executive. It's a pretty small company, B Corp, certified, so it's very sustainable, which I like. Had some great wines, 320 wines from 14 different countries, 90 different producers. And they said, look, we obviously work with a lot of, very good restaurants, pubs, but we've got four golf clubs and we know nothing about golf, but they seem to be very good customers. They seem to drink a lot of wine. It's very easy to deliver to. They're open most of the time, and generally they take all 14 or 15 different wines rather than maybe one or two that the Michelin star restaurants do. Any chance of helping us out? I said, like, yeah, that sounds great. I said, look, hey, let's do it for 3 months. If I'm no good, you kick me out. And I just got the black book out and started ringing some friends, and we're now up to 20, 25, 26 clubs, mostly top 100 clubs, which is cool. But I think, and this is what my podcast is about as well, called Grapes and Greens, and it's about the connection of wine and golf. I mean, just look at the Open Championship. What do you play for? A claret jug. So it's gone from centuries where there's that connection of hospitality and golf. And as much as there's less wine drunk after golf because you've got the drink and drive rules and etc., golf is still like wine at home. And what we have seen is that more and more people, more and more members are looking at Sunday lunches, and clubs are investing in a good chef. And so, well, hey, if I've got the whole family here and friends, I'm going to have a decent bottle of wine to go with some decent food. So it's a great opportunity to go in and talk to some wine, and have that conversation with GMs. And the beauty is that the GMs like wine, but they're not that knowledgeable sometimes in wine. And we've got house managers who know a little bit, but we're able to guide them what we're looking at, and actually work with the chef a lot of the times to pair with their menu, which is great. And it's been successful, and we've got some really nice clubs. We actually got two Scottish clubs as well, so we're in at Gullen and we're in at Kings Barnes, which is great,
Very nice.
through connections, and we're in deep conversations with Royal Dornoch for their new clubhouse that opens in November. So if we get that one, that would be nice. And actually, we're going up to see, and we're doing a podcast with the Macquarie as well. So we tend to have about 6 or 7 golf clubs in Scotland, which would be nice. And then we've got, as I say, probably 22 around London area, and then as we move our supply chains, we hope to have some in Birmingham and Manchester as well. So the other one that we've just signed is Pitch, which is an indoor facility as well. Which I don't know if you're aware of Pitch, but they have one in Soho, one in the city of London, and then they've just opened a large facility in Canary Wharf where all the banking sites are for and insurance. Really, it's a very, very busy place with this great facility, and they're going to be opening in Manchester in about 3 weeks' time. So we're excited to have that because that gives us our winter business as well, which will be nice.
Yeah, that's the nice part about indoor golf is that can go all
Absolutely,
year.
exactly.
I was just up and I did not get to play it, but I saw Royal Dornoch and I saw their clubhouse under construction. And oh man,
Beautiful, huh?
talk about being somewhere and really wishing you had time and your golf clubs with you.
Absolutely, I bet it's.
Yeah,
I've been lucky enough to play Dornoch a few times. I didn't on this last occasion because obviously I wanted to show off the wines and I had a busy schedule as well. So, but it's a great golf course to play. They've got the opportunities if they get the planning to do something with the golf course as well to upgrade that,
oh
which is
yeah,
quite cool.
yes,
Um, and Neil Hampton, who's the GM, he's done an amazing job since he's been there. I think he's going to sort of, he's coming to the end of his tenure, but he's going to be there certainly for the Curtis Cup in 2027. But he's always open to so many ideas, and he's been working on that clubhouse. It's about 2018, and I think from what I saw the external as you did, it looks beautiful, and I believe inside I can't wait to see it.
Sure. Yeah, we I'm familiar and know the folks at King Collins Dorner that are going to be doing if everything comes together,
Yeah,
right? We'll be doing I guess the renovations to the Stewie course and the other things as well. So
yeah, very exciting.
it'll be exciting and need to get back with clubs. Um, so you've kind of talked about just how wine and golf go together. Um, where are there more opportunities to bring those? Is it just continuing to introduce more and more clubs to, working on the food and beverage side, like kind of helping to them to
Yeah,
understand how it works well together?
yeah, I think definitely. We're only at the start of the journey. We've only got 25 clubs. There's like what 3,500 clubs in in the UK. So we've got plenty of opportunity. But I think it's about having the right clubs, and I think it's about having the right understanding of what you're trying to do for your members, and how that equates to the wines that we can provide. Um, I just think again, I've been working with. Actually, I did a podcast with DJ Flanders, who's works for Troon International, basically heads up Troon International, and he was saying that probably pre-pandemic, it was kind of 90% golf, 10% hospitality. He's going now. It's about 60% golf, 40% hospitality, and he said in a couple of years' time, it's probably going to be 50-50. And I think that's the opportunity to really get, because more and more people are looking at their clubs going, well, this is a social opportunity. And also, there's a lot of people who live on golf clubs and and the estates surrounding them that are not particularly golfers, but they still enjoy the country club feel. And so that social interaction and being able to go to the club with a beautiful terrace overlooking a beautiful piece of property with a decent steak and a nice red always goes down quite well. So I can see why hospitality and golf clubs, one is a money spinner and generation, but it's also it's fun, and it's something that yeah, if you're lucky enough to be a member, then you can enjoy.
Yeah. Pretty soon people are going to ask each other, why did you join the club? And they'll say, well, this club had the best wine selection and they also had golf, right?
Absolutely, exactly. And and
Absolutely.
and the good thing is, I work with a lady called Diana DeLucia, and she runs you're probably aware of it, Golf Kitchen. Have you seen that magazine? So
I haven't.
Golf Kitchen, have a look at Golf Kitchen, and you should get
Okay.
her on the show. She's quite an interesting lady. She's a powerhouse, and she is on a mission to get more hospitality folk to come into the country club facilities. I mean, you can usually chefs and wait staff actually have better hours in the country club. You tend to stay longer as well because you get to know the members and the tip environment and all that kind of stuff. Um, and it's a great place to work and it's very different from a restaurant or a hotel. Um, but not a lot of hospitality people up until this point have actually thought, oh yeah, country clubs. And I really hope that she succeeds in doing that because I think if we can get much, better and better staff in the country club, certainly from a hospitality, a food and beverage perspective, then that experience is only going to grow, which is great.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned your podcast, Grapes and Greens. Excellent name, by the way, of a
Thank you.
podcast. But what would somebody learn? What will they get out of tuning in, subscribing to this podcast? Would it help someone like me who I know very little about wine? I enjoy wine. I enjoy golf. Would it help me kind of learn more about different types of wines and then at the same time different courses? Or I guess maybe just tell us what it's about.
Yeah, so ideally it's more about lifestyle, to be quite honest with you. If you can imagine, uh,
Okay.
you just played four guys, three other guys, 18 holes of golf. What do? You sit on the terrace, have a couple of beers, and then you might say, "Hey, let's crack open a bottle of wine." Especially if you've been traveling or wherever, and then what comes out is so where did your career start, and then yeah, where did you go on holiday, and what car you drive, and what hobbies have you got, and that type of thing. So what we see it as, I mean, you probably know the Kingdom magazine. Have you seen the Kingdom magazine over in the
Hmm.
States? So it's that lifestyle facility.
Yes.
So let's talk about vineyards. Let's talk about wine. Let's talk about watches, classic cars. real estate, that type of thing. So what we have tried to do is get through my contacts some chief executives to come on and kind of go through their career, but also where they think golf is going as well. But we always start with a wine. So we ask them about a wine story that they have, and we've had some really good wine stories and why they like that particular wine. And then I always bring a wine and tell a little story about that particular wine. So, we're releasing our 14th episode on Wednesday with a gentleman called David Withers, who was the executive president of Ransom Jacobson and actually lived in Charlotte, so not that far away from you. But he actually grew up about 10 minutes from where I live now. And I think we tried, a South African Pinotage that particular day. And then I'm going to Turnberry on Thursday and Friday, and it's definitely going to be a bottle of champagne from Fraser Frey, probably a Blanc de Blanc, just a Chardonnay, complete Chardonnay grape, which is a cracking wine. So you won't go into too much depth, but you'll get a really nice story, and you might just want to Google it after you've listened to the podcast and go, that sounded pretty good, let me try it. But generally, It's more about the individuals and, what they've done, and also the venues that we're going to go to as well, which will be pretty cool.
Yeah, we love a good golf story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let me ask this question. What's your favorite wine?
Oh, no, you're kidding. Oh, blimey.
That's like asking your favorite kid, right?
Exactly. It's very difficult. And it also depends what the situation is, what time of year it is. If it's cold and the fire's going, you really want a red. And you probably, for me, I'd have an Italian Brunello would be amazing. A 2016 from Castiglione de Bosco, just down the road from Montalcino. That would go down extremely well with me. If it was a boiling hot day as it is today, and I was sitting on the terrace at Wentworth, I'd probably have a rosé from Provence. And if I was going to eat something and it was fish, then I'd probably I'd probably enjoy a really nice Chardonnay from California.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So,
yeah. Well, a lot to learn. I will definitely be tuning into your podcast just to hear the stories about the people you have in contact and hearing more about that. But one thing we ask everybody on this one, and you're a good golfer, so this might take a little bit to think about it, but what is the story of your most memorable golf shot?
oh, wow. Most memorable golf shot. Oh, that's a question. Probably because I'd heard so much about the golf course and the reason why we got on it, and just the nerve standing on the first tee was my tee shot at Pine Valley. So I was at St Andrews. We were going to go and work on the 2002 US Open at Bethpage. And it was leading up. We all had to do different things and go to as many majors as we could in readiness to be prepared for 2005, which was the Open Championship that I did. And so I was with our Links Course Superintendent, Gordon Moyer, and he knew Arnold Palmer's dentist because he was a member of the RNA, and he knew the mayor of Pine Valley. So we organised to go and play Pine Valley, and we thought he said 8:30, and he said 1:30. So you couldn't really do anything unless the members there, but they kindly allowed us to be there. We got a cup of coffee, and that was about it but he managed to change the tee time, came down earlier, so I think we teed off about 10 o'clock. But you'd heard so much about Pine Valley, and what it is. It certainly didn't disappoint, but that standing on that first tee was, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I hit it
Yeah,
okay.
well, yeah, that's good. Mine is standing on the first tee at the old course.
Okay,
I
yeah,
mean, there's probably the same kind of feeling, same nervousness, and wanting to at least hit a decent shot. And
yeah.
thankfully, I did. So,
Yeah, well done. Yeah, no,
um,
that's you see so many things. Having been there 7 years at the Links Trust, and my role there was all about experience, and we
mhm.
all knew that experience is that's what you go for, standing on the first tee, and often you're with family. I mean, the number of times you see the tears because it's father and son, or husband and wife, or grandsons as well. That it's just been built up, or best buddies, or whatever, and it is special, and you want to create as much special ambience around that first tee at St Andrews as you possibly can. And again, walking up 18 as well is pretty special, as well. But that first tee, that certainly gets very, very small, doesn't it? From that wide, huge fairway to when it's
It does.
cleared up, it gets pretty tight.
It does. All right. So one thing we do kind of at close, we do a quick nine. So it's kind of a rapid fire question. So,
Yeah.
what first question? What is the favorite course that you've ever played?
Oh, Bel Air Country Club, loved it.
Nice. Do you have any course at the top of your bucket list, or have you played them all?
Cypress Point. It's still the one I
Where's
haven't
that?
played. Cypress Point?
Oh, Cypress Point.
Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Best course that no one knows about.
Well, it's quirky. I would say it's the best course, but I've been lucky enough to play the course at Windsor Castle with the royal household. When I was at Wentworth, we played, and many people don't know that there's a golf course at Windsor Castle, and there's also a golf course at Balmoral. And the golf course at Windsor Castle was designed by Henry Cotton. So yeah, that one.
Wow. All right. Who would be in your dream foursome?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, my son, Tom, because he's a really good golfer. We played since he was tiny all the way up, so that would be one. Um, I'd, if I could bring somebody back, I'd love to play with Sevi because he was just my hero growing up. Um, and probably from an interest perspective, um, or well, this might be controversial, I know, from a state's perspective, but Barack Obama, I would quite like to play with him. Yeah, it would have been quite interesting.
Definitely, definitely be interesting.
Yeah.
All right. What wine would describe your golf game?
Ooh. Probably, definitely an Italian red, a little bit fiery off the tee. Hopefully, has a smooth finish when you're putting out. Because usually I can hold a few putts. That's about it.
Very nice. All right. What's the favorite club in your bag?
Well, it's hot the putter, but probably I always feel comfortable with a 7 iron. If I had one club in the bag, I'd kind of use the 7 iron to get round if I could.
Yeah, that's the most common answer we get.
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite snack on the golf course?
On the golf course, honestly, if I was going to have a snack on the golf course, go to the Sunningdale Hut and have the sausage sandwich at Sunningdale.
Need to do that.
Yeah, definitely do that.
Yeah. All right. Favorite golf course logo?
I like Merion. Is that Merion on your hat? Yeah.
No, this is
No.
Broom's Edge. Very
Okay.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Merion. I think it's very cool, very very classic, and just kind of straight away that's where it is. Doesn't have to say
Yeah.
anything else.
Absolutely. All right. Last question. Finish this sentence. The best part of golf is.
Lifelong opportunity to play, um, and the people they meet along the way.
I love it. I love it. Well, this has been fun. One bonus question. This will come out before, and I feel like I have to ask you as an Englishman, who's going to win the Ryder Cup?
I think it's going to be. I mean, having been at Bethpage, and it gets fiery in there, especially around kind of walking down from 14, you've got 15, 16, and 17. There's that cauldron right there. It's going to kick off. I think there's going to be a lot of fiery stuff going on. But I think we might just win the Europe 15-13.
Okay.
It was great seeing
It,
Tommy win last night, you know.
oh yeah, we're recording this the day after Tommy did it. He
Yeah.
got his first win in the U.S. So,
Yes, but yeah,
but he's been
what a
playing.
one to win.
I know he's been playing so well.
Yes.
But yes, that is quite a tournament to win. He made a couple dollars yesterday. So
Yeah, absolutely. Good for him. Good for him.
yeah, all right. Well, tell us where people can find Wine and Earth, where they can find your podcast. Can we get Wine and Earth, Kelly? Can you have it shipped to the states?
You can't, unfortunately. We can only do it in the UK. However, there's a few wines on there that are available in the US from other, your local distributors. So go on to wineandearth.com, have a look, and if there's anything that takes your fancy, have a Google and see where you can get it in the States. That would be cool. And then Grapes and Greens, you can download it on Spotify, you can download it on Apple, and we are on YouTube as well.
Very nice. Well, Neil, this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate the opportunity to chat with you, to learn more about what you do. Quite an interesting career, and you're still going, like
Oh
blending.
God, yeah. I mean, yeah. Why wouldn't you? I mean, it's fun. You drink
It
wine,
is
you
fun.
play golf, you talk to people about it all day long, and you go to some great places. That's for sure. So, and most of the time you go for free, so it's all good.
That is good. That is very good. All right. Well, for Neil, this is Robby. You guys have been listening to another episode of the Whole Story Podcast.